We get into the meat and potatoes of today. Now listen, one thing I've been sick of since this coaching search started, and y'all may feel me on this, the national media do not keep up with the Tennessee Titans, albeit we haven't given them a reason to want to keep up with it. No primetime games with the number one pick being the quarterback that came in this year. That's fine. We have to earn that. But when I see national media people from ESPN and Fox Sports, all these huge outlets coming in talking about things that happened 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago in Nashville, as if the Titans hasn't been to AFC Championship games 3 times in the last 20 years. It's a lot of teams like the Houston Texans, the Dallas Cowboys. Like, these teams haven't been to their conference championship in 30, 40 years. Number one seeds, Hall of Fame players, Pro Bowlers, rookie Pro Bowlers. We don't get any coverage. So when they come in, what is this reason that it's like the butt of the jokes to come in and say like, oh, this is the Tennessee Titans? That it just means they don't watch any of the games. They haven't covered any of the players, any of the stories. So when they get there, they're just regurgitating things like, how could the Tennessee Titans have let go of Mike Vrabel? Mike Vrabel had been coaching with Stefanski on the Browns last year. Why didn't you say the Browns let Mike Vrabel out the door and then fired Stefanski? Everybody know the situation with John Robinson to Mike Vrabel, to the cliff fall that happened at the end of Tannehill's career. Derrick Henry walking ran Carthon. Like, that story has been told so many times. It's funny to see the national media come in after the fact and try to sensationalize this thing as if Mike Vrabel got fired from the Tennessee Titans last week and then walked right into New England like he wasn't in Cleveland for a year in between, taking time and then went back. Even though every Titan fan knows during that bye time when we seen Vrabel put the red jacket on in New England, it was a foregone conclusion that at some point when the New England job came open, that Mike Vrabel would more than likely take the job. Whether he had done anything, he did the same thing in New England that he did in Tennessee, which is year one AFC Championship game. He'll probably win, seeing that Bo Nix will not play, and most Titan fans are cheering for Mike Vrabel. If you've seen Bussin' with the Boys with Jeffrey Simmons, you understand that. So with all that being said, it just irritates me so bad to watch these people cover a team that don't keep up with it. And the number one reason for that is the local Tennessee Titan media that covers the team spends more time trolling for clicks that the national media sees this person being kicked while they're down and saying, if the local Titans media, all they do is troll about Amy Adams-Trump and Vrabel and AJ Brown and Derrick Henry, then the national media comes in and follows suit, and it's nobody there standing at the gate saying, hey, like, we deserve a little bit of respect. If you haven't been covering this team for the last 2-3 years and you don't know what's going on in Nashville and you're just watching from afar, from miles away, it's easier to come in and just make broad statements like, how could the Tennessee Titans let go of Mike Vrabel? Not seeing the end of his time in Nashville. It's the same thing that he's doing right now in New England, except Matt LaFleur leaves, Arthur Smith leaves, and then you get Todd Downing with a DUI, and Kelly that came in behind him that the Texans didn't want to let go at first. They wound up running the offense into the ground. So with that being said, it's just pretty much saying that it's easy to jump on a team that you know nothing about without saying, as much as they clown Amy Adams-Trump, she's the reason why Mike Vrabel was in Nashville in the first place. Now, they did have a dumpster fire happen with John Robinson and Mike Vrabel's falling out, but then you got to see the lack of wins the Tennessee Titans had for 2 years, being a team that was at first place in the division at 7-3, getting the offensive coordinator having a DUI, then not winning another game the rest of the season and losing the last game to the Jaguars and losing the division, was similar to the Colts this year being 8-1 at the top and falling completely off and missing the playoffs. Is a very similar year, followed by another season of struggle where you're hanging on to Ryan Tannehill and not able to usher in the new QBs, which was Malik Willis and Will Levis. So at the end of the day, it's easy for this national media to clown and jump on because the local media is too busy always trolling for clicks. I don't have to say the names. The names are obvious. I don't have an issue with those guys. Those guys are doing what they need to do for their careers to make their money. So I'm not knocking them. But at the same time, like, that's why the national media comes in without any knowledge of what's going on in Tennessee and just literally just comes in and starts talking about Amy Adams Strunk and Mike Vrabel. Something that happened 3 or 4 years ago. Now, meanwhile, you see the Bengals haven't made the playoffs in 3 years, and they retain the coach, and every other coach in the AFC North has been let go. Meanwhile, you see bigger train wrecks happen around the league, but it's just easy to jump on the Titans because the Titans media, for the most part, don't hold the door on their own product.
Let me teach you how to vibe.
And it's so irritating to watch. Like, let me run this down for you, what happened with Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel came in. The Titans were a playoff team the year before. They went to the AFC Championship. That is the draft class of Jeffrey Simmons, A.J. Brown. Complete dogs came with a team that was already a playoff team. Tennessee Titans go to the AFC Championship, have the lead, lose to Patrick Mahomes. That was the culmination of Patrick Mahomes' trajectory up. He went on to win the Super Bowl. Tennessee Titans had a drawback the next year. I mean, the next season. Then the season after that, they have the number 1 seed. Ryan Tannehill wets the bed. That started a domino effect of bad draft classes from John Robinson meeting with the next season after that, the trading of A.J. Brown and the drafting of Traylon Burks and Malik Willis. Obviously, a team that was a number 1 seed and had been to an AFC Championship with the same nucleus. Mike Vrabel wanted to keep that together, but John Robinson was rolling the dice and it cost him. The real problem was you had LaFleur as OC, you had Arthur Smith as OC, and then when you bring in Todd Downing, a thing that happens in Nashville, even going back with Trubisky, some guys don't want to let go of their boys as OCs. Titans offense just got stale and stagnant to the point that people thought that Derrick Henry was done. I'm not one of those people. You winds up having a situation where Mike Vrabel gets let go after a meeting with Amy Adams Strunk. A power struggle emerges. Mike Vrabel wants complete control. Amy's fighting and pushing back. Mike Vrabel becomes Julius Caesar. He's the guy that went and fought off the invading empires, but then got too loved and too popular to where the council wants him out. Was it a mistake? Yes, it was a mistake. Mike Vrabel leaves. Rand Carthon goes, gets Brian Callahan, a first-time coach, a first-time play caller, Nick Holtz, Colt Anderson, Denard Wilson. Y'all know the story of how things wind up happening after that. And now we're here. And in between that time, Mike Vrabel had a year to chill in Cleveland, still be around football. Over there with Stefanski. Then he goes to New England. And the one difference I will say about New England's ownership with Kraft is he did say, I hated what I did to Mayo because it was unfair. But we all know he wanted to bring Mike Vrabel in. The same way Amy Adams Strunk wanted to bring Mike Vrabel in for Malarkey. It just happens. Sometimes the business looks ugly. The business looked ugly when Nick Saban was on that plane leaving Miami, going to Tuscaloosa when he said he wasn't going. But that's just the business, and that's how it happens. And who cares who's upset about it? So now that Amy Adams Strunk seen what other people was misjudging her about firing Callahan, saying it was an emotional decision, it actually was the right decision. If Callahan stays there, you probably don't get Pro Bowl Chim DK. You probably ruin Cam Ward. A lot of things happen. If you get more out of that roster with Mike McCoy and Bo Hardegree running the show, playing 17 different defensive backs and the most snaps from all rookies across the league, then you have to really sit and say she made the right decision. Now, everybody will clown her, but nobody will give her the credit that she deserved for saying, you know what, enough of this. We finna clean house. We're gonna let Berganza do his job. We're gonna hire somebody in new. So for 16 weeks, we've been knowing we was gonna hire a coach. Now it gets to the laughing stock of saying, oh, nobody wants to coach the Tennessee Titans, even though they got pick 4, pick 35, pick 66, pick 101, and a plethora of other picks. Knowing that they have the most cap space of any team in free agency, knowing that they got a new stadium coming, knowing that they got a young quarterback, and the best interior defensive lineman in the league, with another rookie that was a Pro Bowler in his rookie season, having 2 4th-round rookies basically have 40 plus catches, 4 touchdowns, and 400 yards, that only legitimately played half a season playing receiver. And then you have your rookie tight end break the rookie tight end receiving record in Nashville. You have all these young players doing these things, with Cedric Gray, a second-year player, emerging as one of the top tacklers in the league. You get all these things happen and have a good draft class, and the local media and the national media will have you saying like, oh, it's a job that nobody wants. It's so bad, because they have fun just trolling at the Tennessee Titans being bad. Now that they came out and said that Robert Saleh won the job over, they didn't take the comfortable pick with Nagy, and that Robert Saleh actually wanted to come in and coach the Tennessee Titans. Now it's the people eating crow. They don't want to say it. They're trying to find ways to slither out of it, other than saying somebody who played against the Titans this year seen something in them that made him say, hey, I'd like to go there and coach. I'd like to go there and give it a shot. Now it's, oh, Robert Saleh's not a good candidate. He's not a good fit. Who's going to be his OC? Well, I seen Bo Hardigree and Mike McCoy get more out of this offense than Brian Callahan did in 2 years. So I'm fairly certain that his plan to bring in an OC that's going to be physical and accountable and run the ball like they did the second half of the season, and the projection that Cam Ward had the second half of the season, with some actual talent around him, not playing 17 different defensive backs, not having games where you have Van Jefferson and Mason Kinsey as your only available wide receivers in an NFL football game. Now what's going to happen? I'm not saying it's going to be the New England Patriots win 4 wins back-to-back seasons and go to the Super Bowl. I'm not saying Chicago Bears picking at the top of the draft and people writing off Caleb Williams and then him winning the North the next year. I'm not saying Sean Payton sending Russell Wilson to the Steelers and paying them to start Russell Wilson while he draft Bo Nix. I'm not saying the turnaround like that. I'm not saying, are you following me? I'm not saying the Commanders getting Jaden Daniels and go from picking at the top of the draft to the NFC Championship back to a top 5 pick. I'm not saying any of the obvious things that the Tennessee Titans are going to have a Jaguars type of flip where they pick top 5 and then turn around and win the division. But I am saying I really believe that Robert Saleh will get way more out of this team than Brian Callahan and Mike McCoy did. I don't think that's hard for anybody to figure out, that his track record is defense, and that's what the Tennessee Titans need to understand that they're not this sexy pick like Kansas City or Dallas or any one of these places. Tennessee Titans is bring your hard hat, blue collar, lunchbox, F-150, Silverado, Chevy, like diesel engine, like King's Ranch. Like, that's what the Tennessee Titans is. It's not sexy. It's defense, run the football, let your QB make plays. And that's exactly what this team should be. And I think they will be under Robert Saleh. And I'm not saying that he's going to have immediate success, but I am happy with the pick. And the local media needs to put their foot down and stop getting overjumped by the national media that comes in that has no clue. The national media says you should draft the offensive lineman because you haven't watched the Tennessee Titans. You don't keep up with them. You don't know that Dan Moore was an $80 million signing. You don't know that Cushenberry was $55 million at center. You don't know that Zietler was $9 million at right guard. And your 2 other linemen are 2 top 10 picks. That's what the national media, they need to hire an offensive coach to do something with Cam Ward, even though he progressed with Bo Hardigree and Mike McCoy. maybe he needs a defense and a team that can actually run the football, because the offensive line protected the second half of the season after the bye. Maybe he needs the number one receiver, not one that needs horse blinders to catch the football. And I don't mean to take that shot at Calvin Ridley, but Calvin Ridley would say he hasn't had the output that he's wanted to be since Cam Ward has been there, because he started off the season with a lot of drops. He's gonna get $28 million next year if he's not cut or traded. So at the end of the day, for what anybody wants to think, Mike Vrabel is a defensive-minded coach. A lot of defensive-minded head coaches that win football games. In the NFL, Mike McDonald is a defensive-minded head coach, but the Seahawks are the number one seed. Look out the playoffs. DeMeco Ryans is a defensive-minded head coach that had his team win 12 games, 13 games this season. It's a lot of defensive-minded coaches that get success out of their team and their quarterbacks by basically being more efficient. Get Jim Harbaugh and what he come in to do. Jim Harbaugh is not some offensive-minded guru. He is a tough, physical, demanding coach. John Harbaugh, who a lot of people wanted, was at the top. Mike Tomlin. All these coaches are not coaches. People that said the Tennessee Titans should go get. And they name all these offensive minds, but at the top of the pecking order of the coaches that was out here this season, it was mostly defensive-minded coaches. You just need a decent offensive coordinator. It ain't got to be no world beater. I just don't need Bo Hardegree and Bill and Brian Callahan running orbit motion with every route going 50 yards down the field. Right, I'm off my soapbox, man. I'm taking y'all questions, man. I was a little teed up because I'm so sick of the local media always trolling for clicks, and then the national media comes in and does the same thing, because none of them actually keep up with the team. None of them actually watch what's going on. I mean, the Tennessee Titans won like 6 or 7 games in the last year and a half with under Vrabel, and they couldn't figure out what came to a head. I think he should have had more time, but I'm not a billionaire owner. And then for them to say, well, you hired Robert Saleh after having Mike Vrabel, you hired the same. Maybe you realize your mistake. Maybe I know what type of coaching, what type of personality I need to make the Tennessee Titans go. So am I going to not hire that coach because I fired one that I should have kept? No, you learn from your mistakes and you move on. All right, let me get into y'all questions, man. T-Town Brown said, Steelman and Buck get on my nerves most of the time. They trashing the team and trolling the fan base. I'm going to be real. I don't have nothing personally against Steelman and Buck, because what they do makes it successful for them. I just wish the fan base would understand that and just stop engaging it. Like, if I know somebody's trolling me, like if I go to the fair and it's a clown on the Dunkin' booth and he gets $10 every time I miss a throw, sometimes I would just say, I'm gonna go spend that $10 on some cotton candy, and when he's talking to me on the microphone, I'm just gonna look at him. I'm gonna look at the clown sitting on the seat at the Dunkin' booth and just keep walking. I don't have to. He only makes money if I throw balls at him. That's it. But it's like the fan base be so triggered by listening to these guys. No matter what if the Tennessee Titans was to win the Super Bowl, Steelman would still go on and say that the Titans are trash and it was luck, and they're like, that's what they do. So those type of content, I just can't get with it. And sometimes like you will see some reason from Buck, but then again it's like he's trying to embrace the villain of saying he could just live as the pessimist to the Tennessee Titans. What's up, man? How do you feel about Brian Daboll? I mean, look at it like this. When Brian Daboll put a plan together for Jackson Dart, at first people was like, oh man, the Titans should have drafted Jackson Dart, until they kept him in the blue tent. But that's on Jackson Dart, because John Gruden told him, you got to learn to slide and get down, or you're going to be in the blue tent in the NFL. You can't run like that. And he ran like that. So I can't put that on Daboll. But I know one thing. Daboll made Jackson Dart look good with the offense he set up. Daboll got the most out of Jameis Winston. He got good out of Russell Wilson until he didn't. And he won a playoff game with Daniel Jones. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I do think Daboll, maybe I wouldn't hire him as a head coach, but I do feel Daboll can run a solid offense. That's the type of person that you need in Nashville with Robert Saleh even if they went with a younger new guy, I still would like to see somebody that was a former head coach be an OC. A lot of people wanted Mike McDaniel. Some people wanted Kingsbury. If Brian Daboll is the offensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans, that would mean we have a person more than competent. He's wanting to go coach and be the head coach of the Bills and coach Josh Allen. So if he doesn't get that job, his motivation is, I'm going to make Cam Ward outplay Josh Allen or the Tennessee Titans offense, so to speak. So like I would be more than okay with Brian Daboll being OC. My question was surrounding Daboll. He was good with Allen, but does he let his QB get too reckless running? Does that scare the Titans away? I think that's on the QB. Like, did you ever see Russell Wilson running too much? Did you ever see Daniel Jones running too much on the Giants? No. Like that's all Jackson Dart, bro. Like if Jackson Dart get in this thing where he wants to run with, like, Will Levis was the same way. That's how he hurt his shoulder. Most people don't understand it. Will Levis hurt his shoulder against the Dolphins, diving for a first down in like week 3 or 4 of that season. It's like, bro, like, you don't need to dive. Like, you should just run out of bounds. You're the starting quarterback of an NFL franchise. Like, it's week 3, bro. Run out of bounds. Playoffs, I get it if you're diving for it and their first down ends the game or something. You know, similar to Mariota that year when he set the block to end that game. You ain't tripping in the playoffs, but you know, regular season, week 3 or 4, I don't need my quarterback trying to run over NFL linebackers and defensive edges. All right, who got more questions? He said waiting on Daboll. Swat ATL, what up? But that was definitely the shop talk that I wanted, because I was so frustrated. It's like most people can't put the timeline together that the Tennessee Titans have been more competitive outside of the outlier of these last 2 years in the last decade than most of the teams that people just be high on. It's almost like some teams just get a complete pass on being bad. What expectations next year? I mean, it's a lot to go into that. Like, I got to see the full staff be assembled. I got to see what they're going to do with Calvin Ridley and L'Jarius Sneed. I got to see the recovery of Will Levis. Do they deal him? Do they trade him? Do they wait till preseason? Let him have a good showing and then trade? I mean, you got Tony Pollard and Tajay on their last year. You have only like 34 players signed under contract. They have to sign like 30 to 40 players. When you consider rookies, free agents, and like practice squad, like they have a lot of people that they got to sign. It's a lot of holes on this team. What do they do? Does Jackson Slater step in at right guard? Do they say, no, we're going to continue to groom him at center and go with a free agent right guard or draft a right guard? You know, Chig Okonkwo more than likely probably out because his stock went up with this season. Like, Tennessee Titans have DMR and Gunnar Helm under contract at tight end. Wide receiver is literally Aomaner, DK, and Restrepo, and Calvin Ridley. What do they do with him on defense? Only Marcus Harris and Michael Robinson at corner is under contract. You know, are they able to return some quality guys like Baker Jr., Corey Levin, Oli Udoh, Jahad Ward? Are they able to bring some of those guys back? How healthy can they get Femi Oladejo and Kevin Winston Jr. to where they can play a whole season next year? The defense will probably have a 4-man front instead of a 3-man look. It'll kind of look the same but be a little bit different. What are their intentions with the free agent cap space? Obviously L'Jarius Sneed probably won't play another snap. But like, what do they do? Where do they spend the free agent money at? What's their real draft plan? I've laid mine out on YouTube. You can go out and check those out. But what do they do? Like, who do they really have on their draft board? Is it Ruben Bain? Is it Arvell Reese? Are they gonna try to take best offensive player available? They can pick at 4. Is it Love? Is it Jordan Tyson? Is it Carnell Tate? Do they reach on one of the offensive guys like that? Do they completely shake things up and trade out of the number 4 pick? It's a lot of things that could happen between now and then. So like, once all those things are laid in place, and my order was coach, draft, free agency, in that order of let's see what they do with this. It's not many times you're gonna have this many draft picks and you're gonna have this much money to spend with a clean slate, with a new coach and a GM that seems competent. They had a really good draft last year. So it's a lot of those things that's got to happen before I can say. But my expectation is the Tennessee Titans won't have another 3-win season. I'm not saying they're going to win the AFC Championship. I'm not even saying they're going to win the South. I'm saying that I don't expect for them to run a bubble screen on the 5-yard line and all 3 receivers are blocking. I don't expect end of half, end of game, timeout, penalty, can't get the right ball on the field type of malfunctions that happened last season. I expect the head coach to know that a knee or elbow is a catch when your rookie quarterback makes a 30 or 40 yard pass and drop it into a bucket down the sideline. I would expect this team to have quarterback sneak in their playbook and to know how to use it in short yardage situations. It's a lot of things. I expect J.C. Latham not to be the most penalized lineman in the NFL next year. I expect them to be able to not go 13 weeks before they have more rushing yards than their opponent. It's a lot of things, and those are my expectations. And if those expectations are met, the win-loss column will look significantly different for the Tennessee Titans if those simple things that they didn't do the last 2 years become something that they actually can execute on. You see what I'm saying, Bill? That's the expectations, is that the Tennessee Titans look like an NFL football team. Not that they have playing against the 49ers on the road with a guy that was at Pizza Hut starting at safety. I don't expect them to go 17 deep on defensive backs next season. I don't expect them to have another season where middle of the season, last 2 years, listen to these names: D-Hop, Ernest Jones, Draymond Jones. Like, we trading away starting quality caliber players at the trade deadline and just selling off. I don't expect to see Roger McCreary and Jarvis Brownlee Jr. Like, I don't expect to look across the board and see like starting level players that are solid contributors to our team, like staples on the team, being like just wholesale before the bye week next season. The last two years, that's what we've seen. We've seen the Tennessee Titans trade D-Hop to the Chiefs and go to the Super Bowl. We've seen the Tennessee Titans trade Ernest Jones to go to the Seahawks. And look what the Seahawks is doing right now. They one game away from the Super Bowl. You look and see at Roger McCreary, retrading him. He's on the Rams active roster. He's one game away from the Super Bowl. Draymond Jones went and finished and met his sack requirements, but they didn't make the playoffs. If the Ravens would have made their field goal and went to the playoffs, the Titans would have got an extra 4th round pick. Instead, it turns into a 5th round pick. A difference of probably about 30 spots or something like that. But you look at those type of things. That's what I don't want to see next year is a bunch of people getting shipped off because the Titans have no shot at the playoffs midway through the season. But don't, Bill, that's my honest expectations. If Saleh comes in and runs 4-3 wide 9 front like in San Francisco, do you like Bain more at end? I've always liked Bain more at end. The Tennessee Titan fan base did not like that Femi Oladejo was he was a project. He was a stand-up linebacker that converted to edge. It took to about like week 3 or 4 before you could start to see him like turn the corner. And then as soon as he did, he got hurt. He'll be back next year. Dude's like a freakish athlete. Now, the question becomes, if Robert Saleh gets to look at tape with Mike Bergonzi, and you think about Ruben Bain, Arvell Reese, Keldrick Falk, and David Bailey, if you look at those guys and think that those are probably going to be the first 4 defensive edge names called, depending on what happens in front of us with Dante Moore going back, everybody expect Mendoza to go to the Raiders, unless the Raiders pulls a move, right? Raiders could do something completely different. Jets is at 2. If the Raiders don't take Mendoza, the Jets will take him. And then it's the Cardinals in front of us. What do the Cardinals do? Do they trade out? So like, it more depends on what happens in front of us. You know, one of the teams in front of us could take Ruben Bain. They could love what they see from him. And then Arvell Reese is there. You know, do you have a trade partner? Do you feel you could do the same thing with Arvell Reese and grow him to where he be some freakish edge rusher? You know, some like Micah Parsons type. You know, like, can you get that? So it depends on the tape. Me personally, like, even before you was gonna see a 4-man front, if you look at any of my breakdown videos, which my last one's on YouTube, obviously y'all need to go check that out. I took Ruben Bain because I said, at the size that Ruben Bain is and the power he has and the hands he got, what happens if you come out on 3rd down and you got Femi on this edge, and you take Jeffrey Simmons and put him out wide on this edge, and then move Ruben Bain inside of him, and it's 3rd down, so T Sweat is off, and you've picked up like a Kayvon Thibodeau or a Dafio Way or somebody, and you can send that type of 4 and let Cedric Gray or Cody Barton come stand over top of the center. Like, a 2-man game with Jeffrey Simmons and Ruben Bain stunting could get crazy, right? So you think about the different things you could do. You would be, you know, in a more different situation if you got Arvell Reese, because obviously you're gonna leave Jeff and T Sweat inside if that's the case. But Ruben Bain, you can start getting crazy and start lining him up anywhere. Same with Keldrick Falk. Keldrick Falk, to me, has a really high upside that if he develops, like, he's more of that like size of like athleticism, not the same as Myles Garrett, but that super tall 6'6", you know what I'm saying, 280, 275 pound frame that could get really develop into something freakish. But, you know, Ruben Bain is a baller to me. And when I say he reminded me of Dwight Freeney, you know, people 6'1", 260, you know, people think that Bain doesn't have like the length and stuff, but bro, if you a baller, you a baller. You know what I'm saying? If you know how to play ball, you know how to play ball. He said y'all got to get a wide receiver 1, Jennings from the 49ers. Jennings would be a solid receiver, but I don't think he's... See, this is the thing you got to remember too. If the Tennessee Titans bring in a receiver, it has to be a receiver that's coming in to be a leader in the locker room at wide receiver 1. Jawan Jennings is a very productive wide receiver, but it was Debo, it was Ayuk, was the guys that you was like, that was their number 1. When you look at Alec Pierce, Michael Pittman Jr. is the one, and he also got Downs, and they had AD Mitchell before they traded him. And you think like, okay, guy's not the one. Romeo Doubs is on the Packers, but the Packers, Christian Watson is the number 1. Doubs is a really productive guy, and then you got Reed, you had Wicks and Matthew Golden. We would have to spend $20-25 million to bring in a Jawan Jennings or a Pierce or a Dobbs. I don't think those guys are the $20-25 million dollar receivers for the Titans. I would rather just go back into the draft, and if you look at my draft free agent plan, I traded back in the second. I got Chris Brazel and Zachariah Branch. Now, Chris Brazel, Zachariah Branch, and with Brazel, depending on how the draft go, there's Jacoby Lane, there's Chris Bell, There's Jeremy Bernard. It's a lot of people that you can mix with this. Tennessee Titans have Aomana and DK and Restrepo. Everybody else is gone. I would like to bring in young guys like the Panthers did. Panthers brought in Tetroa McMillan. They got Xavier Leggett. They got Coker, who is like, not some high value pick that wound up turning into a dog, and he's better than Leggett now. And they got Horn, who unfortunately dropped that pass at the end of the season for them, the end of their season. But I would rather surround him with young guys than us reach. We talking about spending $25-30 million for a wide receiver one to come in and lead a room. Like you see with Ridley, it worked teaching wise, but really hadn't put pen to paper this season, especially with the unfortunate injury he did. But even before the injury, Ridley was not playing up to his capability for somebody that's getting paid $28 million. So it's to say we can't have that happen again. We need to make sure that if we get somebody, they bona fide. You look at the Rams free agent money was Tay Adams. The Seahawks free agent money was Cooper Kupp and Shaheed from the Saints. You see, it's different when the person you spending on, like Cooper Kupp, is a Triple Crown receiver. If it's Jay Jettis or T Higgins, or even in the Cowboys sense of George Pickens, if it's somebody like that, like the Steelers when they got DK Metcalf, it's gonna have to be somebody that's like extraordinary for us to get it. Now, if we get a better deal, if we talking about like, if we talking like 15 to 20 million, and it's Pierce or Dobbs or somebody, and we still can go to the draft and get a dog, then I'm cool with it. But the Titans need an overall better 53. If this was Jeremiah Smith at the 4 and this was next year, bro, there's a no-brainer. Jeremiah Smith is number 1 as soon as we draft him. But I just don't see that from Carnell Tate, Jordan Tyson, and they could be that. But the Titans have so many holes. If you do, and they wind up being like Corey Davis, which was a good receiver, but AJ Brown instantly came in and was better than Corey Davis. Like we need a true dog. I would rather go to the draft and draft something that turns into that than the Titans get the bad team tax and spend $25 million on Juwan Jennings. You know what I'm saying? That's just me personally. That's me personally what I think about. Cause see, case in point, Los, y'all number 1 receiver is Puka Nacua. Whittington from Texas, Tutu Atwell. Y'all receiving core is made up of young drafted guys. Then you bring in Tay Adams after you let Cooper Kupp go. So the veteran, you bring in Tay Adams in to be the number 2. You see what I'm saying? Like the same with running back. People are thinking about spending $10 million on Breece Hall or K9. Well, you got Tony Pollard, who's going to get $9 million next year, and 2 guaranteed if you cut him. It's Tajay Spears last year. You still got Khalil Mullins. Do what the Bears did. Get you a Kyle Manung guy in the 6-7 round, like Jamari Taylor out of Virginia, or Henry out of Texas, San Antonio, Nick Singleton out of Penn State. These are 5th, 6th, 7th round guys you can pick up and see if you can find you a GM, a diamond in the rough. Let Tony Pollard and Tajay run on their contract years, and then if they having good years, I'd trade them halfway through the season. That's what I would do, because like that sets you up for success in the long run. Like if Tony Pollard started off hot and you traded him, and then you had Khalil Mullins, Tajay Spears, and somebody else you drafted that grew into that role, you still got 3 running backs. Because I mean, look with the Chargers. Chargers made the playoffs with Vidal and Patterson after Najee Harris and Amarion Hampton went out. So you got to kind of treat it like that to look forward and not be the Tennessee Titans just reaching for free agents, paying the bad team tax because you need somebody. Use the draft to your advantage and supplement with free agent. Get some quality guys. Like Van Jefferson wasn't great, but for $1.6 million, I feel like he did exactly what we needed in the locker room. He was a good blocker, a good teammate, a good locker room guy. a team first guy, and he was more productive than Tyler Lockett. He was more productive than even Calvin Ridley, for the time and the reps that he got. So, and he was dependable for he didn't get hurt until the end of the season, like as the season was ending. I think you got to go that route if you're the Tennessee Titans. You can't just be swinging for the fences because you got money in free agency. That's what happened to Rand. Rand swung for the fences with Snead, swung for the fences with Cheeto, swung for the fences with Cushenberry. He was just swinging, you know what I'm saying, and none of it really panned out. In reality, probably should have just extended a few guys and kept a couple guys that you already had and just continue to draft. Because if you're going from John Robinson to Rand Carthon's drafts, like that just was not long term. They just wasn't. I think you got to start in the trenches. Because even if you want to do the natural comparison to the Patriots, like Mac Hollins, Pop Douglas, Kayshon Boutte, all those guys stepped up. Now Diggs is the veteran presence and has exceeded the expectations of what anybody thought he could do this season, coming off the injury he came off of. But that's the thing is all the other guys that stepped up too. It wasn't just it was Travion Henderson stepping up when Ramondre Stevenson and Gibson went down. It was a lot of different things offensively. Mac Hollins played a big role for them, and he wasn't some $25 million receiver. He's just a guy that's a good run blocker, physical at the catch point. He's basically what Nick Westbrook-Ikene was for the Titans. You see what I'm saying? Like Nick Westbrook had 9 touchdowns and almost 500 yards as an unsung, undrafted guy for the Titans, and they didn't keep him. Like those are the type of guys that the Titans need to roll in the mix with young guys that just gonna do the dirty work. The Jahad Wards, Sebastian Joseph Days, the Xavier Woods, the Darrell Baker. Even though I be on Baker neck because he be getting dunked on, but out of all the 17 different DBs they played this year, do I need to name them? You know what I'm saying? Like, he probably was the one that played the most consistent. Snead, Brownlee, Roger McCreary, Amar Davis, Womack, Kair Elam, Kamon Hall, Kendall Brooks, Hallett, Sanusi Kane. I could just go Micah Robinson. Like, we going down like 5,000 DBs that played for the Titans this season. And say Baker Jr. probably played the most consistent out of all of them. So you need to get several guys like that. The Corey Levins that step in for Cushenberry, and the Titans running for more yards than they have in 2 years when he steps in at center. Jackson Slater stepping in at right guard when Zietler goes down at the end of the season. You need more guys like that to step in than just like blowing the bag on somebody you think is duct tape on the boat. But let's go. Next question. I'm here. I got the coffee and it's biting. And I take this time while y'all coming up with the next question to let y'all know I appreciate anybody that tap into the shop, whether you're on Facebook, Kick, Twitch, YouTube. Know the benefits of watching on any of those sites. That YouTube, Kick, and Twitch, you can do picture in picture. If you're on Kick, it's no ads. You can use up to 50 emotes. You do not have to be a paid sub. You can just be a follower to the channel and get that. If you got Amazon Prime, you can sub to the channel free once a month. If you don't use it on me, use it on somebody else. And ! merch on Facebook. The links is out there if y'all want to grab some merch, support the channel. And every morning at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, YouTube pods go up on YouTube. They usually post at 8 a.m. the next morning. It's a more compressed version of the live where I break it down, drop little clips off throughout the day on Twitter and Facebook, all the different TikTok, all the different social media platforms. I appreciate any of y'all They interact and engage. I love it when y'all like, when y'all comment, when y'all ask questions. Y'all know once a week I turn y'all questions in the comments into mailbags. So if you have any questions, I'm all about engagement. I'll definitely respond. I try to respond to every comment. I try to answer all questions. Unless somebody just being mad, disrespectful, then I still just tell you have a blessed day. You know what I'm saying? That's something, that's my little thing.